What's going on, battle rap culture? This is Random, the battle rap analyst, and of course, as always, I am with the Battle Rap Hall of Fame. Just finished looking at the King of the Dot, Cortez versus Daylyt battle. Now, I will admit right up front, I had only one watch. I only watched it one time so far. So I'm just going to give you my first watch recap, first watch impression. And again, I don't really do bar for bar and given use the point system. I told you I do hit or miss. Either they hit or they don't. Now I understand there's a gradation in a bar. I know there where a bar may be like a as or in my Tay Rock voice, that's light, or there could be some room shakers or some haymakers. I understand that. But to keep it simple, I do hit or miss, just to keep it black and white, just to keep it simple. I know other people use other systems. They'll do point system where it's between 1 and 3 points. Haymakers, I know people do momentum swings. I know they do preference, and it's just a lot of different ways you can look at it. Okay, now it can come down who gives you a certain feel. Who had control of the battle. Who outperformed. Because a lot of times, you got to look at performance. Some people can have some fire rounds and some trash performances. Delivery plays a part in it. There's a lot of things that play a part in battle, whether it be vocal projection, delivery, crowd control, whether it's plain and simple or intricate. It can be a lot of things that can go into judging a battle. So it's kind of hard just to say, to judge it or look at it one way. We were talking about, haymakers, room rockers and stuff like that. We're talking about point systems and stuff like that. One of my favorite lines that I heard, and it just hit, okay? Not intricate, not fancy, none of that. Plain. And it's all about delivery and performance. And that line is from Sue Surf versus Conceited. When he said, and you've passed a Glock to Fox, and then what? That was one of the most fire bars. Now, was that complicated? Heck no. Was it set up all that? No. It's just pure delivery. How many points would that be? 1, 2, 3? It just had that effect. The way he delivered it, the way he projected it, and the way he sold it. It was hard. It was hard. Now, I understand some people have some intricate lines and stuff like that, but remember, we're talking about the whole battle. Now, let's get into this Cortez and Daylyt. Now, Cortez went first, and he did typical, gun bars and stuff like that. And some of them hit, some of them hit, some of them were pretty good. And I would give him, like I said, hit or miss, hit or miss. I gave him 5 points, on hit. And it was pretty good. He had the crowd. They were backing him up. I like the King of the Dot crowd. They give people a fair shot. They're a little bit more patient. And Core was in his bag. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give Core some respect because I like what I like how his pen is good now. I think he's underrated actually. So it was pretty good. Pretty good. Daylyt, he comes in now. Of course, he says, I'm not gonna do the typical gun bars and shoot them up, kill people. I blow up your house, kill your kids, rape your wife, stuff like that. He said he wasn't gonna do that type of stuff, but he did some stuff that you need to think about, current events, and he did some of those bars, and those hit as well. The difference is gonna come down to preference. The reason why is because a lot of people are gonna say that Daylyt was not direct in this battle. They say that about Daylyt a lot. But it's like, do you feel that he was still in this battle? Okay. Do you feel like he still controlled the room? Now I can see and I can tell that, KOTD crowd actually likes Daylyt. And a lot of people like Daylyt. We know he's an antic guy, but he's changing. He's crossing over to more of a conscious rapper. Now, on a side note, I wish this was the Daylyt that faced B Dot, but can't go back. So anyway, he hit. I gave him like 4 points in the first round. Now again, I'm doing a hard point system. Like, okay, did this hit or did it not? Hit or miss? That's it. Swing and a miss. So that was pretty good. Then the second round, Cortez came back. He came back and he was some more of the same stuff. Was kind of bringing up some of Daylyt's past and talking about how he's a little bit underrated or overlooked and stuff like that. Making us question Daylyt's character, but he got really in his bad in the third. Okay, in the third round, he really got into that. But the second round, he just kind of touched on it a little bit, and I liked his second round a little bit better than his first, actually. So I gave him 6 points in there. He had about 6 things in there that hit pretty good. Pretty good. So it was nice. It was good. It was good. Daylyt came in a second. And I'm gonna Daylyt. I have to say, I just kind of felt his stuff more. I know a lot of his stuff is over the head and stuff like that. But when someone they have the talent like Daylyt, we know he has a fire pin. We know that. So it's almost he was hanging in there. There's something to be said that he was actually hanging in this battle, and we know he wasn't going 100%. We know he wasn't stretching his pen. We know that he could outclass Cortez. So in the second round, I give Daylyt, a 7 in that in the second round. But I get a second round to Daylyt. So it's 1-1 going into the third. Third round, Cortez comes in and he says, there's gonna be some stuff that they speak about, and this is where he really broke down Daylyt. Now, a couple of things he said has been said to Daylyt before, of his antics, trying to do his business on stage, willing to sleep with P. Diddy, making him question all these antics that he's doing, and his little boy is watching. Start talking about his wife, and Daylyt's wife was right there in the crowd. Just a lot of things that we kind of heard before. It still hit, but we did hear these angles against Daylyt before. But he had some nice bars. I can't take away the fact that Cortez had some nice bars. He had some nice material. Then Daylyt comes in the third, and we start to get a little bit more of some vintage Daylyt. Okay, a little bit of vintage Daylyt, meaning he can just take some of the most mundane type things, whether it be a video game reference, a movie reference, a TV kid show reference, or whatever. He can just take certain references, and he can try to make them hit. Problem is, sometimes we see him coming, and I think that's what kind of hurts a little bit. But when we didn't see some of these simple things coming, like the rock paper scissors, which was hard against Chilla Jones, his little teapot, when some stuff. Some people probably saw that one coming, but when you don't expect it, it hits harder. But when you kind of see it coming, is what kind of hurts. So I think this is going to come down to a preference battle on it, and I'm going to edge it to Cortez. Actually, I like Daylyt. I like his pen. I like the way he said he is unorthodox. He has his own style. He doesn't sound like anybody else. And he can certainly talk about a wider variety of things. And I think someone who can talk about a wider variety of things and have much more content in their rounds is a very dangerous person. That's why a loaded Lux is dangerous, why B. Dot is dangerous, which is also why Daylyt is very dangerous. But I'm gonna edge the battle to Cortez. Now, if you edge it to Daylyt, I understand, because it really is 2-1 either way, and it's just gonna come down to preference. In the third, do you like Cortez breaking Daylyt down, or do you like Daylyt getting back into his a little bit of his vintage bag? Because his first 2 rounds, he was really just doing higher consciousness stuff and just social awareness and opening your mind and things like that. And in the third, he got a little bit more vintage when he had some cartoon and TV show references and stuff as punchlines. And it's fine. It's fine. It just depends on your preference, which one hit hard. If Daylyt would have came with a few more, because his third round seemed a little bit short. I didn't time it, but it just felt a little bit short. So if he had a few more punchlines, I think that I probably would have edged it his way. But I went ahead and edged it Cortez way. Cortez 2-1, King of the Dot. Cortez versus Daylyt. This is Random, the Battle Rap Analyst, Battle Rap Hall of Fame. Rock with me. What say you?